What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ProRevenge. This story's called Booty Hole Manager Destroyed My Childhood Game Store, so I got him fired. I judge card games from local to world championships. For several games, I was head judge at the World Championships. The town I grew up in had a game store. It was ran by a husband and a wife, and eventually their kids joined in on the fun, and it was a lot of fun. Every night, there would be no tables open, and for bigger tournaments, they would rent out vacant storefronts in the shopping center to fit everyone that would come. Eventually, they moved the store to a bigger store, and it would just keep growing. Some that grew up in the area and played at the store eventually had kids of their own, and they played in the store too. It became a tradition. This is the place that you took your kids to their first RPG game, or where you buy them their first booster packs. The only Friday nights that this store would be empty was if there was a big football game at the high school. The reason the store was so popular was because of the couple. They were never flashy, and they treated everyone as if they were the best player in the world. They'd give away free snacks, sodas, and booster packs for every little occasion, and sometimes just because. They were more than patient with the players, helping them build decks and helping people get better at the games. They also knew and were able to teach every game they sold in the store. I could walk in any day and there would be several RPG groups and rows after rows of people playing all sorts of games. Didn't matter if I bought anything or not. I can stay from open to close and not spend a dime, and they would still treat me like I dropped $1 million. It was nerdvana. It was also the store where I judged my first event after I got my initial certification, and the husband had me as a judge for almost every event, and he would compensate me half a box of booster packs for the smaller events and up to 2 boxes for the bigger ones. For one really big release weekend, he gave me 6 boxes of booster packs and paid me. His wife was equally amazing and loved her nerds, as she affectionately calls us, more than he did. She would bake cakes for birthdays. Every day for the week leading up to Christmas, there would be a tin of cookies always stocked and baked the night before. If people got in a jam and needed a last-minute sitter, they could leave the kids at the store and she would warn the parents that she'll watch them, but she'll also teach them collectible card games. I think this is also why the store made so much money. The rumor was the store actually belonged to her. Life happened, and eventually I ended up living in a city about 3 hours away. And a few years ago, I heard the wife died and the husband couldn't bear being in the store because everything reminded him of her, so someone else was running the store now. I planned on visiting the store, but being 3 hours away, I just couldn't make a casual trip there, as a round trip would be 6 hours. Around the middle of last year, the store announced that they were going to host a major qualifying tournament. This generated a lot of buzz. People from all over the region were making plans to travel to it. I thought this would be a great time to visit the store, so I made plans to go. About 2 weeks before the event, I got an email from the publisher asking me to judge the event. I thought this was odd, as for store-level events, the store fields the judges and the publisher doesn't get involved at all. Also, while there are a number of us judges, we're not so numerous that we don't know each other. So I knew there were enough judges in the store's area that should be able to handle the event. I wrote back saying, I was hoping to be able to play, but shouldn't there be judges in the area that would be able to do this? They wrote back with, there should be, but the store owner said he couldn't get anyone even with the list we sent him. Red flag! They ended the email with, you should talk to the other judges from the area and see if you can get more of the story. I wrote back with, give me a few days to think about it. I immediately started contacting the judges in the area. They all told me the same story. The store was sold to a guy, and he was great. It was the manager that was the problem. He was a judge as well, but he thinks he knew better than everyone else. The manager would override obviously correct rulings because he was buddy-buddy with the person the judge ruled against. Apparently, this also happened at a major regional tournament. Now, one of the reasons I judge instead of play is judges are pretty well compensated. Now anyways, not just with Booster Box in our pay, but we also got some pretty sweet exclusive promos and swag. This booty hole manager was hoarding judges' promos for himself. The judges found out about this after they went to a major event, and another judge was talking about a sweet swag he got. The area judges put 2 and 2 together and realized what was going on. After this happened, judges that lived in the area all agreed they wouldn't judge under him ever again. This wasn't the worst of it. He would harass players, saying saying they can't bring any outside food or drinks. They tell them they have to buy products if they want to play in the store. He would harass the RPG players, telling them they have no life and they're just wasting valuable time they could be using to play better games. Needless to say, people tried to avoid him, but as the owner would sometimes run the store himself, no one could be sure when the manager from hell would be around. I was livid. This was the store I grew up in. This was the store I learned to play and mastered all my favorite games. And this prick was killing the store. I started to formulate a plan. I wrote to the publisher and told them I'll do it. Also, what was the judge's swag for this event? They wrote back, really grateful as they would have had to pull the event if I didn't agree to it, and told me everything I would get for judging. They even told me they'll throw something in special for me for helping them out. I wrote back asking for a specific item. I knew that the asshat manager would definitely want, and I could use to trap him. The publisher wrote back saying yes, they would include that in the tournament kit as well. The day of the event, I woke up at the ungodly hour of 5 a.m., got ready and left the house at 7 a.m., and made the 3-hour drive to my home store. I got there and there was already a line wrapping around the store. I said hi to people I knew from the store and those I met at larger events. It was like a mini homecoming. I walked in and the new owner, the manager, and 2 other judges were there and went over the day. The manager started saying that he's a level mid-tier judge and that was the highest in the area right now, so he would be the head judge for the event and what he says is final. I told him that I was a higher tier judge. On top of that, I had several advanced roles qualifications. He said I was bullcrapping him until I showed him my certification. He said he's still head judge because he's the manager of the store and people in the store respect his authority. I had to stifle a laugh. Then I told him before I start, I would like my judge's swag. Now, normally I get this at the end of the event because I don't want to carry it around all day. But given this guy's record, I wanted to give this guy as little a chance as possible to steal what was owed to me. He started hemming and hawing and said that he hasn't pulled the kit yet. I told him pull it, open it, and give me my swag or I will be walking away and I'd tell the publisher and this tournament will be invalidated. The owner tried to reason with me, but I was firm. I hated doing this to the owner as he hasn't done anything wrong. From what I heard, he was trying to continue the traditions and practices the original owners established, but I knew I needed to be a butthole to save the store's community from the manager. The manager finally came out and gave me my swag. I looked it over and I knew this wasn't everything that was promised to me, and I said as much. Then I pulled the email from the publisher that listed everything I was supposed to receive, including the special swag. The manager said he couldn't find it all, and the owner begged me to wait until the end of the event so he can make it right. I stood firm and demanded my stuff. I listed everything, and this time I also listed the special item I requested from the publisher. The manager went pale. The owner looked at the manager and said, "You said that you got that when you judged that big event a few months ago." I pulled up the email where I requested the item and where the publisher said it would be included and showed it to the owner. The owner exploded. He demanded to see the entire packing list for the kit. And sure enough, my promised item was in there. Then I told the owner everything the other area judges told me, and the owner got redder and redder. Finally, I told the owner and manager that unless I get the items I was promised by the publisher, I would call the police and report the theft, then walk out and make sure everyone outside knew what happened. The owner demanded the manager give me what was owed to me. He walked back and brought out everything that was listed in the email, plus the special item that was promised to me. The owner then fired the manager and apologized to me profusely for what just happened and asked me to please judge. I agreed, started the tournament, and apparently it was the best ran tournament the store had since the change of ownership. No one walked away complaining, all the rulings were fair, and it even ended early. When I got home, I sent an email to the publisher with the tournament report as well as an explanation as to what happened. I also sent a long email apologizing to the owner for my crappy behavior. The owner wrote back saying he understood why I did it, and he was actually grateful I was able to help him see the truth. The fallout. The butthole manager was stripped of his judge certification. Also, the guys he tried to help cheat were given bans from the game. The owner hired one of the area judges to manage the store, and it's slowly going back to what it was before the reign of Butthole Manager. In the grand scheme of things, this wasn't some huge injustice that was righted, but this store is like family to me, and you don't mess with my family. People like that are like super important to their respective communities, and to lose someone like that is always a really sad thing. That's the beauty of a mom and pop shop, okay? Obviously, you can get some that are like horrible buttholes because they don't have to answer to a corporation, but you also get people like this that seriously love what they do, and they want to spread that passion to everyone else, and they make everyone feel so welcome. Anyways, good on this guy for getting that butthole manager fired. This story's called, I Helped Get My Wife's Boss Fired. So this is a story all about how my wife and I got her boss fired. For reference, my wife will be called Mary, and her boss is Karen. I know, original, right? So Mary started working for a college 5 years ago as an administrative assistant. She was given odd and end tasks, one of which was writing up the school handbook. She noted in the handbook that staff were required to take time for professional development. After some years and a few promotions, she lands a manager position in the department and spearheads an initiative to have all staff under her have approved time to attend professional development conferences. Karen always rejected this idea, but Mary decided one day to go to Karen's boss. We will call him Bob. Bob is great. Once Mary had enough weight in the college, she went around Karen and got Bob to approve conferences for everyone in the department. For the next year or so, everyone got to choose any conference around the continental USA to attend on the company's dime. Everyone would come back with notes taken at every session attached with a conference itinerary and given to their direct superior as proof of attendance. The employee would also present key points learned from their conference at a weekly departmental meeting. Pretty simple morale-boosting opportunity, until someone had to abuse it. Karen had been bragging to other department directors as well as to Mary about swimming with dolphins during her recent travel to conference. Mary didn't think much of it, as usually there was sometimes a free morning or afternoon to do with as you please at these conferences. My wife told me this during our nightly pillow talk, and having been raised in Orlando, where Karen decided to attend the conference, my head popped up and I asked, "Where?" Mary replied with a well-known location run by a well-known company with a whale for a logo. I quickly replied that they close at 5:30. When did Karen have time for this? Mary, who had access to Karen's itinerary, dropped her jaw when she realized the conference Karen attended did not have free time during the business hours of the dolphin swimming experience. Mary went into an enraged clerical fury as she pulled up Karen's full travel itinerary for flight, hotel, conference, and other reimbursements. The school does most departmental work online, and therefore the school servers can be accessed remotely from secured or approved devices, like Mary's phone. Karen also checked the website where Karen went swimming at to confirm hours of operation. According to the record submitted, there was no way Karen had time to swim with dolphins during the experience's normal business hours without missing part of this conference. And according to Karen's itinerary, she was supposed to have attended all sessions. Mary worked hard to have the privilege to travel the country to attend conferences, and Karen just screwed it all up. Mary eventually wrote all of this up, attached the itinerary documents, attached photos of the encounter, and apparently from other theme parks that Karen had neglected to mention from social media, attached the hours of operation, and sent this all to Bob. Mary texted me about an hour after she got to work the next day, saying Bob was livid. He was currently in the process of questioning everyone Karen had bragged to see if the stories all matched up. A few days later, Karen was fired from the company for only attending one session of the 3-day conference, lying about her report filed, using company funds for travel, hotel, and food to go play at theme parks, and for submitting a time card to get paid while doing all of that. Although Mary's name was anonymous through all this, Karen seemed to blame Mary anyways. Karen sent mean and dark texts to Mary several times until the school could send a cease and desist. Worst of all, I guess Karen's husband was a deadbeat, so not only did Karen have to trade in her massive SUV for a smaller vehicle, she had also just signed on a new house only days before she was fired and now had no income to support the said home. I'm not completely cynical, people shouldn't be homeless, but Karen had also taken credit for a lot of Mary's work. made Mary do Karen's workload while Karen went AFK, and many other instances of foul play I can't remember because there's so much pillow talk. Needless to say, Karen reaped what she sowed. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I'm not excusing buttholery. Karen was obviously a jerk. But you know what they say, boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I swim with dolphins on company time. I'm joking, obviously. That's obviously very unethical, because that's time theft. Also, she gave SeaWorld money. That is also morally objectionable, because SeaWorld is evil, at least according to, like, everything I've read about SeaWorld on the internet, without doing any research of my own. So, that's my unoriginal opinion, without any of my own research to back it up. However, I still think SeaWorld is evil. And before I get canceled, because someone else is gonna dig it up, I went to SeaWorld twice. Once when I was like 15 or something, and another time when I was like 8 or 9 or something. But at the time, I didn't know it was bad, and it was pretty freaking cool. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.